Hi everyone, welcome to the second episode of Girl with Love Art. This is Indriana. Thank you so much for joining me today. This week we will be doing an energy flow illustration. The first time I did it, it was when my son was still a baby, and I just felt like I was sort of all over the place, had a lot on my plate, and I really wanted to be more mindful of what parts of my life was giving me energy and what parts of my life drained me of my energy. These past few weeks have been quite overwhelming for me, and I wanted to do the same so that I know when I need to rest, recover, and all the ways in which I can replenish my energy. My hope is that at the end of this activity, we will have a blueprint for our current life, a guide that can remind us how we can best support ourselves and also how we can create a life that is sustainable and healthy. Before we start, I would just like to say thank you to all those of you who did the affirmations artwork with me from the first episode. I loved reading all of your affirmations. They were beautiful and moving, and I really feel so privileged that I am a part of this journey with you. So let's get started. These are the materials that you will need. You will need a notebook, an A4 sized watercolor paper, a pen for writing, and preferably a waterproof pen like a Micron pen for your artwork. You will also need 2 sheets of unlined paper, some washi tape, glue, a pair of scissors, a medium-sized paintbrush, some watercolor paints, and a paint palette. You will also be needing a picture of you, preferably something small enough that you can paste in the middle of your A4 sized watercolor paper. The first thing we're gonna do is to paint. I would love it if you can just have fun with this part. I was inspired by one of the paintings that got sent to me. I really loved how this looked like the galaxy, so I wanted to do that for my own painting. The technique that I'm doing here is called a variegated wash. So basically, as you saw what I did earlier, I just wet my entire paper. I realized later on that I didn't put enough water and it dried before I put my paint on it. So if you want to do this with me, make sure that you get your watercolor paper really wet. I really didn't think too much about this one. I just wanted it to look pretty, So I let the water take the paint wherever it wanted. And yeah, so we're done. And once the wash was done, I wanted to do the splatters like the artwork that I showed you earlier. So what I did was I dipped my paintbrush in more paint and basically just flicked my brush this way onto the paper. I dabbed away some of the splatters that I didn't like. Yeah, and then I was done. On to the next part. Grab your notebook and your pen. Write on top of a new page, all I do in a week. On this page, you are going to write every single thing you can think of that you do in a week. For me, the most glaring part of my week is always laundry because it's never over, and then tidying up, part of my everyday, and then it was morning routine, and so on and so forth. You don't have to go into detail with this one, but if there's just different parts, say of tidying up or different parts to your morning routine, then you can briefly write it down. For example, for work, I put the different aspects of my work. Once you are done listing out everything that you can think of, start to look for things that belong in the same category. So for me, laundry, tidying up, dishes, all into house chores. Other categories include mothering, which has feeding Sparts, morning routine for Abbas, and I also have miscellaneous family responsibilities, and then I have work and also social life and The last category that I have is essentials, self-care, downtime, all under the same thing because it's basically like things for me. So once you have your categories down, I would like you to take a few minutes, look at these 2 pages, and really notice the feelings that come up when you go through your list. Once you are ready, start writing down all the feelings that you are feeling. So for me, it was endlessness, restricted, stuck, happy, tired, drained, light, heavy, achy, rested, illuminated, excited, accomplished, and fulfilled. So once you are done, I would like you to look at all of these feelings that you've just written down and then pick 3 that you think describe how you feel when your energy is being drained, and then pick 3 more words that you think describe how you feel when you are energized. Now that you've done that, you are done with the first part of this activity. My advice is that you sleep on it and just think about the following things. So I actually really slept on this one. I thought a lot about the stuff that I wrote, and when I woke up the next day, I did this table. So yes, this is the next thing that you're gonna do. You're gonna draw 3 columns. The header in the first column is cut into half. The bottom one is activities. The top one is feelings. The header of the second column are the feelings that describe you when you are drained. And the header in the third column are the feelings that describe you when you are energized. So for house chores, I wrote endless laundry as the thing that makes me feel stuck. Surprisingly, I find that I love decluttering the house because when everything is in its place, I feel really light and ready to take on the day. I continued this with all the other categories. So for example, for work, what makes me feel heavy and stuck is editing the podcast, editing videos, and then under light, fulfilled, illuminated, I put that, I love coming up with new ideas for Girl with Love. I love talking about running a business with my friends, and I love it when I finish a video because I feel so accomplished. So yeah, then I just went on. For essentials, downtime, and self-care, I wrote Netflix, surprisingly, under heavy, stuck, achy. This is like a new insight for me. I wrote therapy under both. So you can write something under both. So yeah, I also wrote 7 hours sleep, exercise, coffee, breakfast. So now what I would like you to do is look through all the different details about the activities that you do in your week and underline those that you would like to include in your illustration. The ones that I wanted to include are the ones that really drain me and the ones that really make me happy. So once you have decided what you want to include in your illustration, you can take your unlined paper and write it all down. I wrote morning coffee, breakfast, and then I wrote a more detailed version of breakfast. What is it about my breakfast that really makes me feel full and happy? So I have a very sensitive stomach, and I love breakfast, and it actually took me a long time to find a good breakfast for me that won't irritate my stomach. The fact that lactose-free milk is just everywhere and so accessible, and the fact that I can get gluten-free cereal makes me so happy, and it makes me feel healthy. And I also wrote walks with my friends. So I really asked myself for this one, what is it about walks with my friends that make me feel light, fulfilled, and illuminated? And I realized that the people that I walk with, they make me think, they make me laugh, and at first I wrote they make me feel loved, but actually I think what it is that energizes me is the fact that unlike anyone else that I know, They make me feel like I belong in this world. So that's what I ended up writing at the end and including in my illustration. So yeah, write all of this down as detailed as you possibly can, because these are the things that we are going to turn to when we need to recharge. This is gonna be your reference, and we want it to be as helpful for you as possible. For the other side, I wrote thinking about my financial responsibilities and wondering how I can fulfill them. I wrote bills and wondering if I'll ever be financially stable enough to help out everyone on my table. And I realized that this is what drains me the most, exploring the uncertainty of it. So once you are done writing in detail all the things that you have decided you want to include for your illustration, and now it's time to cut your arrows. You can cut up your paper and put them aside. And then what you want to do, once you have both your points and the arrows, you would want to arrange them, compose your illustration to your liking. You can also write down the title. I just put my energy flow and put it at the top of the illustration. So once you have composed everything, you can paste your picture in the center first. And then what I did was I pasted all the words, all the points, and then I pasted the arrows. So for the things that energize you on the right, you point the arrows in towards your picture, and for the things that drain you, you point the arrows out of your picture. So yeah, and then once I pasted everything, so the picture, then the words, and then the arrows, I drew with my pen on the arrows just to make them pop out. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for doing this with me. I hope this has given you a lot of insight into your own life, and I hope this will be something that will be useful to you. When you look at the things on the right side, I hope you can immediately know, oh, this is what I need to stay healthy, to maintain my well-being. When you look at the things on the left, I hope you will give yourself rest, enough time to recover. And then maybe you can look to the right side and think, oh yes, this is what I need to recharge. If you decide to do this with me, I would love it if you can hashtag #girlwithloveart when you post your final illustration. Thank you so much, guys. I hope to see you in the next episode. Bye!